On today's episode of Wrong Side, drama in the NBA as Luka Doncic is headed to LA and Zach LaVine is headed to Sacramento. We'll review as NBA trade deadline approaches. Super Bowl 59 is right around the corner with Wrong Side's picks and previews. A great interview with Ohio State Buckeye and 2024 silver medal Olympian in artistic swimming, Ruby Remati. Clutch moment of the week brought to you by Shore Metals and Outside the Line. In a world full of champions, we find ourselves on the wrong side.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Wrong Side Wednesday. Today is February 5th, and we're going to dive right into it. What a week it's been on life. Obviously, busy at work. Life is different right now with busy season. Joey's getting things handled out in Chicago. I'm busy here in California. We have a great interview later today that I was unable to be at because I have work. So Jake Sharber stepped in, our a sixth man of the year, we should call him, stepping in when we need him most. Great interview coming up with her. But breaking news in the NBA, we're recording this on Sunday, so the dust has settled, which I think has benefited me a little based on my opinions on a lot of things. But about 24 hours ago from taping, I was coming home from dinner, saw a tweet from Shams, and basically thought his phone got hacked. Got hacked. Feel like the rest of the country, rest of the NBA fan bases thought the phone was hacked. I was saying fake, and like 5 different group chats. Like, I'm excited to see when he tweets that his phone got hacked. Then ESPN started to pick it up, and Woj started to pick it up, and Bleacher Report picked it up, and lo and behold, it was not fake. And arguably, you could say one of the biggest trades of our lifetimes in any sport. One. Mm-hmm. Two, rarely are you seeing a top 10 player traded for another top 10, 15 player. I feel like the last time we kind of saw something like this was maybe not top 10, but a few years back when it turned into Kawhi for DeMar. I felt like that was similar level of just at the time.
This is probably bigger at the time. Yeah, this is probably bigger.
You know, still probably bigger, but that one. But we've alluded to it. We've said it. Everyone probably knows about it by the time this is coming out. Obviously, we know about it. You've probably picked it up. What we're talking about, Luka Doncic is the newest Los Angeles Laker. On the anniversary of the Pau Gasol trade, they trade for another international player and bring in Luka Doncic to be the new face of the future of the Lakers. And he didn't come cheap because not only is Luka a Laker, the Lakers ship out Anthony Davis, the number 2 option on the Lakers, NBA champion with the Lakers, to Dallas. Those are obviously the big main pieces. We'll get into the other side pieces when we dive in deeper to this trade. But Luka, you're a Laker, and Anthony Davis, you're a Mav. So what were your thoughts? Did you believe it? Did you also think he was hacked? What are you thinking? I really don't know, so I'm hoping this maybe helps me out, talk some feelings out about how I feel. But what were your thoughts?
I can't imagine how you feel right now. This is, like you said, probably the most surprising trade in any sport that we've seen in our lifetime. So Luka Doncic is one of my favorite players in the league. I have defended him at many points. I think he, at 25 years old right now, could be well on his way to being one of the best basketball players of all time. Like, every time he walks out on the floor, he seemingly can drop 30 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. I think he's had like 70 points. I think a 50-point triple-double before. He's a stud. He also has one of the highest usage rates of all time. The whole team is built around Luka Doncic having the ball in his hand. It was even a big story when Kyrie Irving got traded to the Mavs back a couple of years ago to see how would they be able to balance both having the ball in their hand. And now he's also a great passer. Honestly, he draws a lot of LeBron comparisons. He's plays point guard. He's got a huge frame, and there's a lot he does well. As far as what this does for the Lakers, I'm not sure. So the question, really the why behind this trade for a lot of different reasons is I'm still trying to figure out. So the stories coming out at the moment, the Mavericks did not fat. Luka is fat. There's been multiple questions about his conditioning throughout his career, and they're just coming off of a NBA Finals appearance. It didn't go
Right.
well, and honestly, Luka, again, one of my favorite players in the league. His effort and display in the finals was disgusting to me. He was taking cheap shots at Jaylen Brown. He's a shit talker. He's a passionate player, which is one thing I love about Luka, but he was just playing himself out of the game, demanding challenges that were clearly wrong, just like being overall a
Bad
crybaby.
defense. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're adding that to LeBron, who is championship. Like he knows how to play the game the right way. You've never once, I mean, people question his defense. Yes, I guess you question everyone's defense in the NBA, but LeBron, like he knows how to control pace of the game. I think Luka does a lot of these things too, but I think you now got a lot of personality there. So what do you project like the Lakers starting five is once Luka is activated?
I have no idea. I think we're in a weird spot. AD came out last week and said that they need a big, and I actually believe them. They were playing really good. They got Vanderbilt back. DFS was playing really good. The defense, in my opinion, was the problem for the first couple of months of the season, and it was really coming along the last couple of weeks. They were kind of figuring it out slowly but surely. Figuring out you have AD, who is a top 3 defensive player in my mind in the
Yeah.
NBA.
Mm-hmm.
You have Vanderbilt, who is incredible on defense. He's not going to shoot 10. He's not even going to score 10 points a game, in my opinion. But I saw that he's averaging 2 steals a game in 14 minutes right now.
Wow.
Like, just absurd numbers on the defensive end. He's great. Dorian Finney-Smith has definitely improved the defense. LeBron, when he does lock in, I believe, is a fantastic defender. And you had AD, and I felt like everything was kind of slowly coming together. I figured they were going to get maybe one more shot protector, like a big man or a rim
Yeah.
protector, maybe go on the Nick Claxton or like Miles Turner. It's the 5th year going, I think, on Miles Turner trade rumors. But I thought that was the way they were going to go. Like maybe one more piece. They kind of maybe get one more shooter or something, really try to mess it up with get Gabe out of there or Rui out of there. And I guess maybe AD never should have said they needed another big because they traded him to a team with 3 bigs now.
Right.
And Luka's coming here. And I don't really know what this means. I mean, I was obviously calling cap with the rest of the world that LeBron had no idea.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. He
I was
definitely
calling
knew.
cap, but I actually think he may have not. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's a bad take that he may have no idea, but I just don't believe that. Like, I would obviously he's not Dwayne Wade, but I would think AD and him have gotten close enough over the years where he was on that Dwayne Wade friendship
Yeah.
teammate level. So, or Kyrie the first stint or the second stint in Cleveland. So
Mhm.
I don't really know what happened there. And it seems like everybody was really in the dark. You were reading reports that AD was sending like "Let's go, congrats" text after the game against New York on Saturday, where it was a great game against the Knicks, beat them without
Yep.
AD, fantastic win. And then this just dropped, and I mean nobody thought it was real because I mean when you have to
Even
come out
Luca
and
didn't seem to
say,
know.
yeah, I mean when you have to come out and say I wasn't hacked, I think that's a bad look. Like, it's a bad trade. And so as soon as I got home from dinner, I was like, we got to turn on the TV. We got to turn on the TV. My dad was like, what's wrong? I was like, I think they just traded Anthony Davis away for Luka. He was like, what are you talking about? So we turned it on. Lo and behold, people were coming out, but it was awful. Like, we had to wait a full like 20, 30 minutes, I felt like, for Shams to come on. So
Yeah.
finally he comes on. They show this stat. I have it I pulled up. NBA players with 10,000 points, 3,000 rebounds, and 3,000 assists since 2018, 2019, Jokic, Luka, and LeBron. So now
Yeah.
2 of them on the Lakers. Very similar play styles, in my opinion. They both pass the shit out of the ball. They both shoot very well. They both play average. I think LeBron plays average to good defense when he wants, and Luka plays really bad to uh, average defense, maybe at his
Sure.
best.
Fair. Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. In my opinion, I'm all over the place on this. I think that LeBron and AD were great together. I think I like the big man work. We've been saying it since 2020 that, in my opinion, a team like the Lakers works well when you have AD playing the 4, and he was playing a lot of the 5 because Wood was hurt and Jackson Hayes was hurt, and the team was just a mess. So I felt like a fair complaint was you need to get the 5. You need to get, and
Yeah.
the lineups with JaVale and him, Dwight and him in 2020 worked to perfection, and now he's gone. Luka's going to be I don't really realize it when it happened, but Luka's 25 years old, which is insane
Hmm.
to me. I feel like he's been in the league forever. 25 years old, still very young. Hopefully not as fat as people say. And I don't know. I don't know. I really, really don't. I'm all over the place on this trade.
They're saying he's already pulling a James Harden, where a couple of years ago James
Fat
Harden came
suit?
out in the first couple weeks in the fat suit, and everyone was like, he's cooked," and then he got traded. And Luka's been out for going on a month now, and he's already active to play like tomorrow for the Lakers. So maybe this was just a stint for him to get out of Dallas, but like you've been explaining, I'm not sure it's a fit for the Lakers, and the fact that Luka needs the ball in his hands more than practically anyone in the history of the league. When I say he has a high usage rate, LeBron obviously has the ball in his hands a lot, but usage rate is a stat in the NBA where I think it either ends in a shot or a turnover, not even an assist. And Luka is a
Oh,
great
wow.
and Luka is a great passer. So the whole team. And if you've watched the Mavericks over the last couple of years, again, they just came off that NBA Finals run. It's him running a pick and roll and either shooting a step back three, kicking it to the corner, or throwing a lob to the big man. Every once in a while, the big man gets it, he kicks it out to the corner, and obviously the ball moves around. But it is so much based off of Luka. And obviously, this team, it's a new team for him, a new fit, isn't built for him quite like that yet. So curious about the fit for the Lakers. And then you go over to the Mavericks. They have three big men. Yes, you still have Kyrie Irving. You have an old Klay Thompson, who I think last time I looked was like 0 for 4 with 0 points earlier in the game. Also, shout out the Mavericks played the Cavs today and were
Yeah.
down 91 to 46 at half.
They had
So
like 7 guys active. It was terrible.
it like absurd. So I don't get where this came from. The fact that nobody knew about it, and I know LeBron has denied it most of his career that he is a legit GM and knows about every trade that's coming, and he's running the trades on
I
Tuesday
kind of
before they
believe he
actually get
didn't know
broken.
about this. Like, I actually might believe he didn't know.
I kind of agree. And that brings me to my next question. If the whole plan, and I think I saw one of the talking heads tweet this, is the Los Angeles Lakers are no longer on the LeBron James timeline. They're now on the Luka Doncic timeline, which obviously you have to consider life after LeBron. He is 40 years old. Again, coming off of a 30-point triple double in the
Right,
Garden
yeah.
with a shorthanded win over the Knicks. So it's crazy to even like fathom the whole LeBron thing, but now you're on the Luka timeline coming off of a finals appearance. I don't know if he has an MVP, but he's definitely been contending for
No.
multiple years at this point.
Yeah.
Rookie, he has a rookie of the year. Um, and is the fact that LeBron didn't know telling that maybe he's gone sooner than later? There's been talks of retirement. I don't think he's going to get traded this week. The NBA trade deadline is just in the next couple days. I don't think that's the case here, but just from the fact that they're similar in play style, it's not a good fit for either team mostly. It seems like really it's a case of the Lakers didn't want to sign a 31-year-old AD, and for some reason that we still can't figure out, the Mavs didn't want to sign Luka. There's questions about his conditioning, but again, he's a 30 point per game scorer. He's so far one of the best players through his tenure than we've ever seen before. So I don't get it. Does this mean LeBron's gone sooner than later, you think? Is this telling of that, or is this completely off to the side?
I don't know. I to be honest with you, my opinion on it was there was a way I thought about it as being a pro, because in my mind, I was thinking, okay, this is the first move we've made in LeBron tenure as a Laker that is pro future of the Lakers.
Yep.
Every move that has been made up until this point was you were going to get picks to get this person, picks to get that person, picks to do this. We're going to sign AD. We're going to sign Carmelo. We're going to, we're going to sign all his buddies. We did that. Everything has been pretty LeBron centric, in my opinion.
For sure.
Making a move like this, to me, shows they're ready to accept that LeBron's not going to be playing till he's 100, which is fine. We all know it. But like, it was
Uh-huh.
finally the acceptance of, okay, he's going to be gone sooner or later, whether it's in 2 years with the Lakers, whether it's next year, whatever. That was, I appreciated Rob, because Rob has had trouble with that, I think, in the LeBron tenure, where he's traded a lot of guys away, the AC trade. You had some guys like that where you were kind of prepping to help LeBron versus trying to prep and help the Lakers,
Yeah.
which that was, I felt like, many moves, like when we got Russ, when we got, all those kind of things. So there's that hand of it. On the other side, a move like this, in my opinion, unless they get a big man, unless something changes very fast within the next 4 days before the trade deadline, a move like this, to me, shows that we might not get another one with LeBron. LeBron might be done. We might not get another ring. And I think that's what's kind of like pulling me back on the excitement is the sadness of like, all right, like LeBron might end with 4. LeBron's done. Like, they're ready to make Luka the guy. Like, Luka's going to be the guy from Kobe to LeBron to Luka. That's the way they went. And I just think that's crazy. I think Luka's going to be great, though. With trading AD, you get 1 supermax off the book. You're going to get another one off the book in another year. So you're going to have the money to do it. And that's a hell of a selling point. Luka plus Los Angeles, you become the Lakers again with a move like this. And not to say they weren't the Lakers. They obviously are. They had LeBron, they had AD. But you become a very viable, cool destination. And, it's crazy. It's one of those things where, everyone was making fun because everyone always gets they're like the good players get a jersey edit of them in the Lakers when they're drafted like one day, and like just like the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Cowboys, like there's always like the big name brands.
Yeah.
But when you trade a player like Luka Doncic, and Book said it and Katie said it perfectly last night, they said nobody's safe. At the end of the day, that we all know it's a business, but nobody knew. Jason Kidd was dumbfounded at the press conference today. This guy Nico Harrison, he was in love with AD, just thought it's better. I mean, this guy might be the hated man. Who's really upset that this happened?
Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones. Yes, good answer. He's upset. He's furious that no one's talking about them in Dallas right now. I saw a tweet my buddy sent me, who's also a Cowboy fan, that this was Jerry's chance to put Jason Witten on the coaching staff and no one would notice with everything going on last night. But truly, one for the books. I hope it works for Luka. I was making fun last night. I sent a text to some friends about the trade. Let me find the exact words I used I don't want to mess it up. But in the Lakers history, they've traded for Kareem, they've traded for Kobe, they've traded for Powell, they've traded for Dwight, they've traded for AD, and now traded for Luka. Every single player I mentioned before Luka has a ring with the Lakers. So the standard is high, but I don't believe the only reason was because he was fat. You don't trade a top 5 player because someone's fat.
It can't be. And it's weird. I understand, like, you're going to have to pay him a lot of money if you're Dallas. He's would have been eligible for a Supermax with Dallas. The Lakers will still have to sign him to a contract, but he's no longer eligible for that Supermax deal. The NBA contracts, I still am not sure on quite all of the rules, but similar thing with Anthony Davis. So both of these guys are technically free agents at the end of the year. Like, worst case scenario here, and I understand I'm being a bit dramatic here, but Luka, again, like, he's very emotional. He's passionate. He's gotten in shit talking conversations with fans sitting courtside before. Say it doesn't work out. It doesn't go well. I mean, you got your head coach's house just burned down in the LA fires. The team isn't what it was 2 weeks ago. There's a lot going on in LA. And not to say that Luka isn't used to the bright lights. Obviously, Dallas isn't the market that LA is, but it's different being a Laker. So it could all go in theory. Like, yes, you're setting up for the next 25 years, the next 15, 20 years of Luka Doncic, LA Lakers. In theory, it sounds great. So I saw a edit of him versus Tatum, but Luka was in a Laker jersey, and I was like, okay, I get it now. I'm like, that's pretty cool. And saying that, like, as a Bulls fan who actually were active today on the first trade deadline activity in 2 years for the Bulls, we did fucking nothing, but it's Lakers versus Celtics. Like, that's very much back in the equation with Luka. It's a fair handoff to say you're going from Kobe to LeBron to Luka. Like, that is the caliber of player Luka is. But I just think with all the noise and all the expectation, like, it may not go well. So I think there's still a lot of question marks. There are a lot of other trades that have happened in the last couple of years that I think make more sense than this. But you can't realistically be upset getting a player of Luka's caliber. So we'll see what happens.
And that's the thing. I'm not upset at Luka. I think I'm just sad about the whole AD thing. I think AD was I was a big defender of AD, especially the last couple of years. I think he got a bad rap as like gym clothes and A Disney, the whole 9 yards. And I think it was dumb. Like, AD plays 55 to 70 games the last like 3 years. Like, he's missed he's been doing good this year too, right? Playing very well this year. I mean, he's always top 5 in defensive player of the year. He's always an all-star. He's always in the mix for an all NBA team. He's a good player, and he's going to do very well in Dallas. I wish him well. I'm bummed about Max Christie, but you got to, I guess, that's a small piece, but I am bummed about him. He was really coming around, and JJ was
Yeah.
the perfect coach for him. Jalen Hood-Schifino, see a kick rocks. He was the worst first round pick we ever made last year. But, at the end of the day, if there's one person I want my new star to be next to, at least for the rest of this year, is I want it to be LeBron.
Yeah.
If there's anybody that knows how to treat their body and knows how to get themselves in shape, it's him. I think they're gonna get Powell involved very quickly with him. I know they're not the same country, but still European, like that kind of
Mhm.
realm. This isn't new. The Lakers aren't new to having a player of Luka's caliber. They've had Kobe, they've had Powell, they've had international players before. They're the Lakers, the Los Angeles Lakers. But the Los Angeles Lakers fan base is the original lunatic fringe. Always has been, always will be the original lunatic fringe. Where you have one bad game, you're dead to them. Like and you can get to play tomorrow. You'll play tomorrow, another chance to get back. It's not like football where you got to wait a week or maybe wait a year. Like you play the next day, you're ready to go. So he has to come in and show. And I'm the best case scenario is they get this guy. He wants to become a villain,
I hope.
and he dominates and he puts the money into his body. He goes hard. He works hard. And I mean, that game, I think they play in March and in April. Got to be two
I think
great
it's
games.
February 25th, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
okay. Sooner than I thought. Sooner than I thought. I thought there was one in March. You're probably right.
Yep, February 25th in LA. I'm curious to see what that return to Dallas looks like for him. I think
It's
like
not going
it's
to be boos.
definitely
I think neither team are going to boo.
I
Like,
I think yeah, I don't know. Like
I mean, people
AD,
were coming in with caskets to the fucking stadium today at
yeah.
whatever the American Airlines Center. The fans are
They
mad.
won't get booed.
It's a slap in the face to the Maverick fans. It's different from the Lakers side. It's still not great, but the Lakers, I don't even know who won the trade. I think the Mavericks won the trade for the current year and next year. I think the Lakers may have won the trade for the next 5-6 years. Maybe that's my take on it. I think they both have different timelines of winning, but this better work out. It better work out more for Mavericks than it is for the Lakers. The Lakers are going to be
Oh
just fine,
yeah.
in my opinion. But the Mavs have this Nico guy, and I don't know if you saw that quote today of an old quote of Mark Cuban. He'd rather divorce his wife than trade Luka Doncic. But
Right. He would never would have let this happen.
so I don't know. It's got to be
They
fascinating. Major trade. I just don't know. I'm so torn on it. I really am. I really don't know what to do. And I'm excited to see him play. I don't know if he'll play on Tuesday, but I'm excited to see him play this week or whenever he's back. And AD will play this week for Dallas, and they're going to be good too. I think Dallas is a good team as well. I think Dallas is a very good team now. I think the Lakers are going to be a good team. I hope the Lakers don't make a rash decision here. I hope they go, if they do trade again, I like both of them, but I hope they go with Dalton over Reeves. But I think Reeves is going to bring in more. So we'll see. Because you have three guys that control the ball there that have
yeah.
not to say Reeves is obviously on that level, but very similar play style of like passing, rebound, kind of three similar guys. That's not going to work. I mean, they're all going to be spotted up. Like we need someone in the paint. We need something like that. And there's no big man. The defense is going to be bad. Luka's got to get better at defense. That's going to be
Yeah.
a tough watch for me. But
Right now.
we'll see. We will see.
So quick right side, wrong side on this. Wrong side, the Mavericks in the last few years had a core of Kristaps Porzingis,
Yeah,
recently won a finals
Brunson.
with the Celtics. Brunson, who I think he took a good
Face of
deal,
New
but was
York.
eligible for a supermax. Face of New York over there with the Knicks, and Luka just came off of a finals appearance with the Mavericks. All gone. I don't even think they got a first round pick back for any of these guys. So
They got one.
Mavericks are in
One
trouble.
for Luka. One for Luka.
Yeah.
5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. One for Luka Doncic.
The NBA is a fake league. And the right side, what I was gonna say, we were down bad. Football's over. Obviously, college football
Yeah, huge.
has been doing this for us for a while, and NFL a week off with the Super Bowl coming up around the corner. But Lakers and Bulls both in the news for the NBA. So
Yeah,
we're back.
Bulls trade. Bulls trade was big as well. Yeah, we didn't get to hit on that, but basically, the Bulls became the cuck chair, just like the Jazz did, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Spurs, big trade. De'Aaron Fox going to play with Wemby. I think that's going to be
Love
great.
that.
I think it's going to be
Awesome.
very cool. And Spurs kept a lot of capital as well. Kings got Levine. He got shipped off from Chicago finally. I think it's 3 years too late. And they got a ton of
Yep.
picks, 3 first and 3 seconds. And the Bulls got Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerta, and their own 2025 pick back from San Antonio. I don't really
First
know how it
activity,
does for the Bulls.
at first trade deadline activity for the Bulls in the last 2, maybe even 3 years. The Levine contract has been hampering us for a couple of years now, but again, it's 3 years too late. The Bulls are like the Jacksonville Jaguars of the NBA right now, and it's depressing. So I would love for the Bulls to be good, and I guess this is a step in the right direction to get that money off the books, but we have nothing going for us. So
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're due for. I mean, you guys are playing champions, so maybe there again this year. But I don't know.
contend for the play-in.
I'm excited for Wemby to have another guy. I think that's
That'll be
gonna be
very
fun.
cool. I'm
I think
very excited about that.
I think that'll be cool. But let's see what Rob Pelinka's got up his sleeve. Maybe he checks, calls the Spurs. Who knows? Um, But yeah, crazy. Luka Doncic's number 77. You'll be seeing it live everywhere in the nation. Coming to a fraternity party near you. The 77 Doncic jersey in purple and gold. But yeah, what a freaking Saturday night trade. Unbelievable, in my
Yeah.
opinion. The rest of it, the other trade, going to be good. The West is good, man. It's going to be awesome. Basketball is starting to pick up. The All-Star game is coming up. So after that, everyone kind of starts locking in on NBA. So going to be very fascinating. I'm excited. I'm excited to watch the Lakers. I am excited. I've been watching them a little more, obviously, with no football. But a new part of the Lakers story is going to be written now, coming now. I hope they re-sign him. I hope he wants to be there. Obviously, he's had his own interactions with Kobe. So let's hope. Let's hope he's the next great Laker. So very interesting to me. But flipping gears now to the game of the week, the Super Bowl, hitting on it real quickly. Obviously, we've talked about it for the last couple of weeks, but we'll hit it quickly. Eagles, Chiefs, New Orleans, starting this week. Media Row. Going to be some great interviews. I can't wait to see who interviews who this week. That's always fun. We'll love to potentially one day get to Radio Row. Obviously, we're not that big yet. Maybe one day. Also, fun fact, in about a month and a half, it'll be episode 50. So celebrate for that in a couple months,
Let's
in
go.
a couple weeks. So excited for that. But yeah, gonna be a fun week. New Orleans, fun city. Storyline, I think, is obviously the one and only three-peat. Could be the first one ever. I'm not claiming that weird ass Packers one that they were tweeting about a couple days ago. But this is the first three-peat.
Segregation was still a thing. Hang it up.
And the Eagles, trying to prevent their second three-peat of all time, they actually blocked the Patriots to getting theirs. Patriots won, lost one. So not the same way of two and then one, but where a middle stop. So could stop another three-peat. What do you think is going to happen? Who do you think is going to win? Some fun bets, tails, heads. What do you got?
The longer I've thought about this game, the more kind of twisted up my brain gets. So the current line, as we're recording here today, is Chiefs -1.5. That was the line when when it opened last week after conference championship weekend. And if you look into it, both the teams are very similar to their last matchup back a couple of years ago. The Eagles' defense has definitely gotten a lot better at positions that they kind of got exposed on in that first matchup with the Chiefs. They've gotten improved in younger secondary. They got better linebackers. Zach Bond was great at inside linebacker this year. Obviously, Cooper DeJean and a lot of the new DBs for the Eagles outside. Jalen Carter messing things up in the middle. The defense is great. Obviously, the Chiefs have a good defense too. The first time the Chiefs scored over 30 points this year was last week in conference championship weekend.
31. I think they had 31 once. So
still,
over
yeah.
31 points.
Oh, okay. So 31, maybe one other time this year. The longer I think about this, the scarier it is. On paper, it looks like it's the Chiefs all day. The Eagles do have a special place in my heart, but I am not going to be caught betting against Patrick Mahomes again in the playoffs. So I've had a Chiefs future back for a couple of months. The worst thing to do is to count out Jalen Hurts. We've seen that many times throughout his career. I think he had a great, one of his last 300-yard passing games was in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. You can't deny that maybe he hasn't been great this year. Maybe he wasn't great last year. That game against the Super Bowl, best loss ever against the Chiefs, right up there with Josh Allen. So we as sports fans and as people who occasionally do wager on sports, we're looking at the lines, we're looking at the narratives. If DraftKings puts out a promo for the Chiefs, we are thinking we should be on the Eagles. So that in my own brain is getting me all kinds of messed up. That being said, when I rest my head down at night, I won't be able to sleep if I lose to Patrick Mahomes again in the playoffs. So I think it has to be the Chiefs here. But the longer I think about it, the scarier I feel. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean it'll be. I mean, the interview on Friday and part of my take with Nick Wright was I thought really well. Nick, obviously a big Chiefs guy, and
Yeah.
you know it's gonna be interesting. I'm not rooting for the Eagles. I'm rooting for the Chiefs based on I'm not rooting for the Eagles. Because I'll never root for the Eagles. But a three-peat would be fascinating to me. That puts Mahomes at 4 rings, which would be crazy. At this point in his career, he would need just a couple more to pass Tom. But it's gonna be crazy. Up until I saw a stat. Up until the conference championship game, it just broke. When Jalen Hurts had thrown for over 155 yards in a
They
playoff game.
lose.
He had never won. Every time he
Uh-huh.
was less than 155, they had won. Last week they won, or 2 weeks ago they had won. That's the first time it's ever happened. So kind of a weird stat. I don't know. I think it's just weird. I mean, they've always had a good team, and it's crazy because he did play really well in that last Super Bowl, but he also had arguably the play that lost the game, you could say.
Yeah.
So very well. I think the defense. It's going to come down to defense. Who can beat who? Obviously, the Chiefs have the experience. Obviously, I know the Eagles have Hurts and they have some good offensive players. It's obviously a big moment for Saquon, but a young defense. Let's see how this young defense plays against a
Yep.
very, 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 very veteran offense. We're going to see. Can the O-line hold up for the Chiefs? I know they've had their problems at times. Will the Eagles be as consistent with the tush push? Will the Eagles be able to make a big play? So we will see. I don't think Saquon's going to have these crazy 200-yard games. I think he's going to have a good game. But I think Chiefs are going to win. I would be very shocked if they didn't win. I think they will win. I think they're going to. I would say they cover. I would definitely say they cover.
The 1.5. Okay.
The Chiefs don't really ever smoke teams in the playoffs. Maybe they
Correct.
do by garbage time. I would say that last Texans game, I think they won by 9, but it was a last second touchdown before their last drive to get them to 11 or 14. So it wasn't really crushed. But obviously the Bills, the Bengals, the Ravens, those games are usually close. The Eagles game a few years ago was close. So I'm not saying they're going to crush them, but I definitely think they're going to cover. I would say probably by field goal. Harrison Butker will probably have a big kick. He usually does in these games. I mean, he's money. He's butter in those moments. So I think Chiefs win. Yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to win. And I think some bets I have, I got Kelsey to score anytime because this is, to be honest with you, you could say this city is where the Travis Kelsey story began, in my opinion. If you don't know the
Okay.
story, he got popped for a drug test before the bowl game at Cincinnati in the Sugar Bowl. Gets kicked off the team. He was the quarterback at Cincinnati. He wasn't going to play, but he was a quarterback. Jason was on the team. Travis was on the team. A year or so later, Travis comes back. They ended up Jason vouching for him. He gets put on the team. They said, "Hey, we'll have you back. We don't need a quarterback. We need a tight end. How about tight end?" So he starts playing tight end. Fantastic career at Cincinnati. Obviously gets drafted by Andy Reid, and now he's a Chiefs legend. So I think it's an anytime. This is a city that has good and bad memories. I think for him, I think you can spin it in a way of, it's a really bad start to his career, but without that little hiccup, who knows what happens. So it's just life. Life comes at you different ways. So I think Kelsey to score. I have anytime touchdown for Hurts. I like over Goddard yards. And this is not a real bet, but whoever wins the toss, the coin toss, whoever wins, not heads or tails, whoever wins the toss, is 27-33 in the actual game. It's a 2-game win streak currently on the winner of the toss winning the game. I think the winner of the toss, whoever it is, wins the game.
Good to know. That's an interesting stat. I had similar thing cooked up. These are odds based on DraftKings. A sneaky little plus 1,200 parlay for Super Bowl Sunday. Saquon Barkley, 2+ touchdowns. Kelsey, anytime.
Wow.
I agree. Story for him. He shows up in these moments.
Yeah.
Pat's going to find him. Pat's going to find him at some point. And then Goddard moved the line a little bit to 50+ receiving yards. 3 legs there. Gets you plus 1,200 odds. So pretty juicy there. I will be wagering on that one. I also did say Chiefs will win by 5+. That being said, there are a couple things I really want to watch out for. One, can the Chiefs stop the tush push the way they did to Buffalo? You mentioned it earlier. I think Buffalo did a little bit of a different variation than we typically see
it was making
Philadelphia
it look so
do. They made it look so difficult to have a 6'5", 240-pound Josh Allen gain 1 yard. So Obviously, Philadelphia, they are more brute force, straightforward than Buffalo. Josh Allen just kept kind of drifting to the left. It didn't really make a lot of sense. So, tush push, something to watch out for the Eagles. And the story with the Eagles and Nick Sirianni the last couple of years is even with DeAndre Swift, and I know their O line is a little bit banged up right now. I think it's Lane Johnson. One of their stud O linemen is
Lane
out for the
Johnson
year.
got hurt a little. Cam Jurgens was hurt off and on last game. Yeah, they're banged up. The O line for the Eagles.
They're banged up on the O line, but even before Saquon, they had DeAndre Swift. They made DeAndre Swift look great too. If the Eagles and Nick Sirianni stay out of their own way, obviously turnovers are a no-no. Any big game that's going to be the case. But if they can build a lead, run the football, you got Saquon Barkley, who is chomping at the bit of the single season all-time rushing yard. So they can control a game. Saquon can take over a game. We saw him break some long runs against Washington. If they can stay out of their own way and run this game to a victory, the Eagles, obviously the Chiefs are a dynasty at this point. They're going for 3 in a row, but the Eagles are not a team to be counted out. So very curious. We shall see.
Yeah, it's going to be a Spags masterclass, I think. Always is. And then, yeah, we'll see. We will see. It will be very interesting. This is a big one for Mahomes. A three-peat, obviously never been done. And obviously Mahomes, like, I'm not saying he has something to prove. We all know who Mahomes is. But this starts to get a little serious. It really starts to bring up, at his age, a faster discussion of the GOAT conversation. It does.
Sure.
I know he doesn't have the head-to-head against Tom, but you're at a much better pace. You're at something that's never been done before. It's definitely helpful. So we will see. Gonna be a big game.
Yes, so Super Bowl Sunday right around the corner. Thank you, football. What a great season for both college, obviously, and the NFL.
Wait, what happened in college?
The Ohio State Buckeyes are national champions. National championship
Got it.
or bust. We got it. We're winners forever. Football is fun again. It's amazing. But football, we're finishing off the winter here. January, February in Chicago are the sad gray times. There's no sports on. It's still dark all the time. So looking over to NBA and a couple other things as we head around to spring.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Can't wait. And now we got a great interview coming up. We're going to kick it to that now. And you're going to get to hear Jake Sharber do a great job interviewing with Joey while I was at work. But going to kick it to ourselves now in our interview today.
All right, welcoming into the pod, Ruby Remati, Ohio State junior, Olympic silver medal winner in Paris in synchronized swimming, and Nike Move member with our darling Jake Sharber. Ruby, thank you for coming on. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Doing good. Jake, thanks for helping out and setting this one up. This is going to be a great interview. Going to talk Olympics, going to talk Ohio State. Before we dive into that, my first question to you, what has been your favorite moment from the Ohio State football national championship run?
I mean, obviously winning the national championships. All my friends and we all went out. We watched the game together, and it was just that moment when everyone knew, everyone was celebrating, throwing stuff around. It was a core memory. We ran home singing "All I Do Is Win" on the way back to the house. It was really special. So I'd say that's my favorite moment. Super proud of the Buckeyes this season.
It was amazing. I'm very jealous of you guys. We did have one national championship appearance when I was in school, and it was when we got blown out by Alabama. So proud of you guys for bringing one home for us. You yourself are a back-to-back national champion with the swim team, the synchronized swimming team at Ohio State, as well as a back-to-back All-American. So congratulations on that. But you have a very interesting story and path to Ohio State. So born in Sydney, Australia, you moved to the States at 14 years old. Talk us through kind of your way of coming to the United States, also getting to Ohio State. I think the synchronized swimming team has the most national championships of any team at the school. So were you born a Buckeye? Has this been the place you were headed your entire life? Or how did that transition kind of work for you?
So I was born in Sydney, Australia. I moved when I was 3, but
Okay.
I moved to a small town right outside of Boston. And so I was born near the beach. So every Sunday my dad would bring me to the beach. So the second I popped out of my mom, I was already swimming basically. And so I had a father-daughter swimming lesson every Sunday. So in Boston, he would bring me, and then that's when I was exposed to artistic swimming, which is what it's now called. There was a name change back in 2016. I could be wrong about the date. But once I discovered the sport and I fell in love with it, at age 14, I decided I was going to move from Boston to California to pursue full-time training. And full-time training entailed practice from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. So I was only 14 years old, and that's school time. And so I was like, no school. And my parents are like, nope, online school. I'm like, okay. And so I'm lucky enough to have parents and a brother who was in college, so I could leave the country. So I'm really grateful for them. And so at age 14, I was training like 8 to 9 hours a day, doing online school after practice from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. And so I did that for a couple of years leading up to 2021. And so when COVID hit, it really affected the qualification for the Olympics process. I pushed back going to college for a year. And once we missed a qualification by point two, that's when I was like, I think I need a break. I need to have a mindset reset. So I went to Ohio State college that summer, and the next 2 years were super transformative for me. Ohio State helped me like fall in love with synchro again. The national championships definitely helped with the motivation.
For sure.
And so after my 2 years at Ohio State, I went to LA to train for the Olympics this past year, and now I'm officially back as a junior. And heading into season, I have my first competition. So that's kind of
Wow.
my rundown. Yeah.
Great story. I mean, talk about a transformative years. Not only are we hit by a global pandemic, but like you said, missing the 2020 qualification by .02 has got to
Yeah.
be tough. I mean, for something that you've been training your whole life for and obviously have been competing at a high level at for a long time, there's got to be a lot of questions about motivation and kind of what's going on next. You're headed to college. You've been working your whole life for this moment. In those tough times before the national championships and before the grind at Ohio State, what did you tell yourself to kind of keep going after that setback?
I mean, our team was struggling a little bit mentally even before COVID hit because there was just a lot of obstacles that we faced. I mean, it wasn't just COVID, it was 30 postponements of the qualification. And as a athlete, you have kind of a set plan of tapering and when you're going to go more intense. And so, always having a restart, we always had to regroup as a team. We also experienced like really bad fires in the Bay Area at the time. So we faced a bunch of obstacles, even cold pools where we, really swim. And in those moments, it really affected, our mental state. But I think we leaned on each other. I really leaned onto my teammates. On the days where I felt I couldn't do it for myself, I was like, I need to do it for them because everyone's showing up, everyone's tired. Like you have to show up no matter how you feel. And so for me, I used kind of the greater good of the team to motivate myself. And then I'm not gonna lie, during COVID, I was like, turn off my Zoom. I was gonna turn off that Zoom camera and just not do the workout, not do the ab workout.
Yeah.
But what motivated me is like the consistency. If you're not consistent, you're never gonna reach your goals. And I was very grateful and lucky to have a coach that found very like unique ways to motivate us, like little games even that were really hard still, but just find new ways as a team to find the joy in the sport again. Because once you find the joy, everything else becomes just way too hard.
Yeah.
And so I think each other was really important, and finding different ways to just have joy in the moments that were really difficult. That really helped me.
That's great. That's honestly being able to not only just do it for yourself, but do it for your team when you know you don't really want to do it. I feel like that's just a great thing about, especially about team sports in general. I
Hmm.
feel that that's a great way to have people to especially lean on, especially during those tough times. Um, so moving from Sydney to Boston or to Massachusetts to California, like, do you have friends like from all over the place, like that you still keep in contact with and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, most of my family lives in Australia still. So I haven't visited Australia since I moved, just due to plans always changing. But synchro, the best thing about synchro is that I have friends everywhere. It's like really a community that I've built, and being able to compete internationally, like I'm able to, interact with the Japanese team, with the French team. Even after competition, we all talk and we all become friends. During competition, we're not friends. We're very
Of
much
course.
talking to each other. But once, the results come in and everyone's calmed down, the friendships I form from my sport is super special. And I think that's the most important thing about sports, the relationships you build, the memories you have, and also just like the values that are built into you through it. And so I've really valued sportsmanship, friendship, especially female friendship, since it's a very female dominated sport right now. And we're working to incorporate men a little bit like more for the future. But I mean, yeah, I can travel to France. I'm like, hey, I need a place to stay, and I know I can call a French nice swimmer. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Outside of synchro, what would you say your favorite sport is outside of
Um. Oh, that's a hard one. I really enjoy watching sports that are very artistic. I consider dance a sport. Like our dance team. Shout out to the Ohio State dance team who just won
that?
national
Shout out.
championship. Shout out Danny, our coworker. I really love watching very like artistic sports. I like rhythmic gymnastics, figure skating, all of that. But I also have like a big, deep appreciation for honestly every single sport, track and field, football, obviously. It's harder for me to get into football because I need more knowledge, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
It's
Yeah,
a
I'm
tough one
definitely
to crack. I'll give you that.
being a Buckeye, I have to know my football. But I really have an appreciation for every sport. I think, people are like, "Do you think synchro's the hardest sport?" And like, yes, I do, but I also feel every sport every sport has its own, difficulty and different skills. Like I can't be tackle. I can't tackle, but I can hold my breath for a long time. So I just have a deep appreciation for sports in general.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know a lot about synchro, and I know a lot of our listeners probably don't either. So I understand, like, it's very impressive to see when it comes together, especially like for the most part. I would say I am watching it at the Olympic level, which is obviously a top
Mhm.
level. So take us through just super high level. What is needed from a team to be successful? Like you said, obviously you got to be able to swim, hold your breath for a long time, but it's like staying on rhythm while underwater. Like I wouldn't be able to tell you the first thing about it. So in the most like explain this to me like I'm 5 years old way ever. What are the keys to being a successful synchronized swimming team?
Oh, this is a hard question because there's so many aspects that go into
For
it. Okay,
sure.
so you need a background in swimming. Every synchronized swimmer has to know how to swim, and there's also a bit of a background in ballet work. Um, so to be a synchronized swimmer, flexibility is extremely important. At trials, when you go to national team, you're what's the word? You're tested on each split, right, left, middle, your shoulder flexibility, back flexibility, toe flexibility. We do a lot of rhythmic gymnastics training on land, and then in the water, you need very good cardio. Like it's very cardio intense, our sport. And during COVID, I actually learned from like a scuba diver how to like hold my breath better. So, there's a holding your breath aspect, flexibility, and we also do weightlifting, which is strength because we have to lift girls out of the water. Artistic swimming is basically what we compete is a 3-minute routine, and we have different events. We have a team event, which is 8 people, a duet event, 2 people, and those are our Olympic events. In collegiate, you got a bunch of different ones, but we won't get into that right now. But Olympic, it's team and duet. And so you have a technical routine and a free routine. Your technical routine, you have required elements, which is specific movements that every single team are required to do. And then you're based off of primarily how well you do those elements, how synchronized you are. And then there's a free event, which is a little bit longer. You have more flexibility to do whatever you want, more creativity is involved. And then you have an acrobatic event, which has just been added because we want more spectators to enjoy our sport, and people love to see people getting flipped out of the water. And so that's my favorite event because we're not underwater a whole lot. It's more like more power and more strength is involved with that
Mhm.
event. So yeah, there's different strengths that you need to have for each routine. But in general, it's a 3-minute routine that, we practice every day. It's choreographed. It's based off of like how well you do it. It's very much like figure skating, but just in the water,
Okay.
and we don't touch the bottom of the pool ever, and we have to be very close to each other. And we don't wear goggles. We don't wear caps. We put gelatin in our hair. We wear sparkly
Wow.
suits. Yeah. So that's my rundown. I ranted a little bit, but if you have any questions, let me know.
I mean, where to even start? It's a crazy combination of like swimming, gymnastics,
Yeah.
skating, like practically powerlifting with throwing people out of the
With
water while you're not
mixed
even
with
like on the
dance,
ground or
there's everything.
anything.
Yeah,
That's
it's like
crazy.
everything, and they're like, let's just put it in the water. I'm like, okay, yeah. So that's our sport.
So obviously, like very team oriented. We interviewed another one of Jake's friends, Alex, who is another Olympic swimmer. But in
Mm-hmm.
in your typical swimming, you're one person in one lane in a pool. So at the Olympic level, what are the kind of conversations like if someone isn't performing at their best? Like not necessarily that someone's slacking, obviously, but someone's a little slow. They may be a little injured. Would you say your team? Do you use a lot of kind of positive, uplifting stuff, or is it a pretty cutthroat team that you guys got going on?
Um, a bit of both. So the process of getting to the Olympics, it was a very cutthroat trial process. Every week we were evaluated. If you weren't performing, someone else is ready to take your spot, and they would just completely take you out and just put someone else in your spot. And so up until the Olympics, I think a month before is when they announced and chose the team. So everyone was always very much on their toes. And although there was a lot of competition like within the team, we all still made sure to like take care of each other, be very supportive. There was no, bickering or like, oh, she's doing better than me, oh, she took my spot. The mentality with our team was very much the better our teammates are, the better I'll be. So we pushed each other to be better, and I think that really helped out. At the games itself, if the training and leading up to it, once this team was selected, if someone was starting to have a harder day, we treated it more with like coming together, more support rather than cutthroat. And I think there's definitely times to be like, all right, time to get your together, and there's also times to kind of regroup, have a breath. And as a team, I think we did really good at
Yeah.
reading the room, figuring out when those moments were needed. And our coach also, definitely kept the stress on, but also very much led with, love and making sure that the whole process was enjoyable. She didn't want us to go to the Olympics and be like, oh my, that was terrible. That was so stressful. She wanted us to like enjoy it. And that's what I'm pretty grateful for, that I got lucky with such a great
Yeah.
coach and team who wanted just to have a good experience. So yeah, there's definitely, yeah.
So when you bring up the fact that it was super cutthroat, when did you know you personally had it to make the Olympic team?
So we competed in August, and I found out. Do I remember? Everything's a blur. I think it was somewhere in July, middle to end of July. I'm talking like the last month. My family was like, "Can we get tickets?" I was like, "I don't know." Like get the tickets, like manifest it for me, but I can't. It was very, very last minute, and I think that's how it should be, honestly, because you want to give your best eight. You want to, and so much can happen in a month. And for me, I think it's not great when you set a specific team 2 years before, because a team can
Yeah.
change, dynamics can change, and it's very similar to swimming and track and field. So, yeah. But I was nervous. I was nervous. It was,
I mean,
yeah.
you have to be in a like environment that stressful. You're competing at the highest level, not only from like your personal perspective, but from like a coaching perspective, as a teammate perspective. Like you said, like you may not have it one day, and if you go off and sulk, like your coach probably isn't gonna like that. Like you still have to have like that team mentality, and
Mhm.
and then when you get there, like these are our eight. So I mean, you appreciate that in all team sports, but especially in a team sport at the Olympic level, the kind of fine line between keeping the pressure on and still
Mhm.
like having that team mentality. Like everyone's competing, they want to be there, they want to be the person to win it for their team, but it's about the team. It's bigger than yourself. So
No,
I definitely appreciate, especially in synchronized swimming, like the amount of kind of like team vibe you have to have. So it's pretty crazy. But like you said, 2020, narrowly missed out on qualifying. It was a weird year, COVID and everything. 2024, you qualify for Paris, you're going. What was that like when you finally got the call that not only you guys qualified, but that you were going to be going to Paris yourself?
Well, so I would say the day that we missed out on the Olympics was like the worst day of my like it's still like I think about it, I'm like, oh man, that was
Yeah.
terrible. We were all like in the locker room sitting on the ground, like, okay, what do we do now? Like we just spent 8 hours a day. And that team kind of not everyone came back. So only
Mm.
I was one of the only other people who kind of came back from that team. So I was also introduced to a bunch of new athletes and kind of a different dynamic than what I got really used to. And so we had two chances to qualify for the Olympics. We had a Pan American game and a World Championship. And we were so ready for the Pan American Games. Like we were so overtrained, honestly. By the time I walked out, I was like exhausted by the time we even walked out. Like it was just such an I don't know how it was such an intense time. And we actually ended up making a mistake and getting second. So Mexico got the spot to the Olympic Games. And the worst part was the person who made the mistake was me. I made
Oh,
so our sport went through a new rule change where you submit exactly what you're going to do, and if you don't do a single move, then the entire segment doesn't count. So it's very very high risk.
Oh,
Yeah. So for example, if we're underwater doing our little leggies for 30 seconds, and then I declare I'm going to do a 360 and come down, and I end slightly on the corner, the entire 30 seconds doesn't count, even if it was half a
oh,
second.
wow.
And that's like a lot of points gone. So if you mess up that way, you're like out. And I was like half an inch too high, and so
wow.
they clocked us, and we missed out on the Olympic. Like the guilt I felt was so bad, and so I was taken out of all the routines because, as I said, they were cutthroat. So they're like, "You're
Yeah.
out." And they're like, so in that moment, November, my Olympic dream crushed. I couldn't get out of bed for 2 days, and then I've made my way back onto swimming the technical routine at World Championships. And at Worlds, we had 12 athletes specializing in different routines. So it was kind of a big group effort. We had to get top 5 overall to qualify for the Olympics. And so every swim you did, it was like, this is like every single swim mattered. And it was
Yeah.
just super high stress. But we all stayed in our bubble. We all stayed together. And we just didn't even think about, like, oh, this is the last opportunity. And so the moment that we realized we qualified was just extra. I started crying. It was just extra special because I didn't mess up that time. Like everything was good. We qualified, and for me, it was like a big, like I didn't mess it up for everyone else type of thing. And
For, for
yeah,
sure. I'm sure that was a big relief after, a
yeah.
couple years of no, like,
I was like,
like,
oh no, is it me? Am I the like bad luck charm? Honestly, so it was like the curse is broken. We
yeah,
qualified.
exactly. The curse was broken. So getting that feeling of going to the Olympics, when you were there, who would you say, like, because were you on the boat? Were you on the parade, like during opening ceremonies?
Yeah, I was on the boat. We managed to like make ourselves in the very front row on the second floor, and then
Nice. There
That's
we go.
awesome.
we looked down, and Steph Curry is there, LeBron, and Steph threw his little USA men's basketball pin, and I caught it, and it was
Oh,
raining.
okay.
Sweet.
We all got ponchos, but it stopped raining, so I'm like, I don't need the poncho. Starts raining again. I gave away 2 ponchos, and I was just soaked. But I didn't even notice I was completely soaked because it was like the best part of the Olympics for me, the opening ceremony.
Who would you say the best person that you had an interaction or met while you were there was?
Um, oh man, there were so many. I would say Simone Biles, and I would say Simone Biles, um, Devin Booker. I'm like, what's the what's her name? Shakari Richardson. She is so cool.
Oh, okay.
I took a photo of her nails. Somewhere in my camera roll is her hand with just like USA nails that like go to here. But with Simone Biles, we were in the Olympic Village and I went to go get my shoulders worked on before our second session. And so I'm on my back, I'm, talking to my trainer, and then I just feel someone enter the room and like the air thinned. I was like, that's someone important. I look over, it's Simone Biles, and I go, and I was like freaking out. I was like, oh my. I was like, play it cool, play it cool. And she's like getting work done, da da da, like, so super casual. And she's talking to her trainer. And I'm like, how do I naturally insert myself into this conversation? And so we
Exactly.
find a way, and we're starting to talk about opening ceremony. I'm like, hey, you going to opening ceremony? And she's like, no, like I have to compete. The media is like a lot, And I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, well I'm going. Like, and so I did my whole spiel about our journey and our team, and she was really sweet. She saw a bunch of TikToks about synchro, and some of my teammates posted the gelatin.
Oh,
And so she was very humble, very sweet. And I go, bye, good luck. Didn't ask for a picture, and I walked out of there, and I went, and I was like, there's no way. But that was really cool. She was very
so
nice person.
obviously getting to meet all these professional athletes and other ones like yourself, who would you like, what other event did you like go and see? Because I know you guys possibly have some time to go watch other events. What would you say one of your favorite events was that you got to go watch is?
Well, because we competed last, we had to find a balance of like staying in our bubble and
Mm-hmm.
resting and being able to explore, because we didn't want anyone to get sick. There were a lot of people. But
Right.
I would say our sister sport is women's water polo. We did
Okay.
exhibitions out of women's water polo games. So we were very much familiar with each other. And we went to Spain versus the US, and we saw Flav there. So we were cheering with him.
Oh,
He's a big sponsor of women's water polo. He's like their number one fan.
That's
But
amazing.
we got to see that competition, and that was really cool because it was also in the pool that we were going to compete in, and so
okay.
we got a sense of like how big the crowd was. It was a big crowd, and it was really like nice arena. I think Paris Olympics did a great job of setting everything up. But yeah, that was
What
the
were
only.
your what were your thoughts? Because we've all read in the news. What were the beds like? I know they were probably cardboard, right?
Well, I have a TikTok. Out of all the things I could have blown up for, I blew up for a TikTok about how I like the beds because I already have a firm mattress.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I went to bounce on it and it's just boom, rock hard.
Wow.
It was straight like sleeping on a table. I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm.
But you're so exhausted. I could have slept anywhere. I was so tired.
For sure.
It was fine. I know there's like a famous image of an Italian swimmer sleeping on the grass, and honestly, there wasn't much of a difference.
Mm.
In the floor and the bed, but super grateful, super grateful. The village was very
Of
nice.
Okay.
course.
Yeah, but
No,
I
you
was,
bring up the village. Oh, what were you gonna say?
I was prepared for the beds.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
prepared for the beds. Well, that's good.
Yeah,
You bring up the village, and it was very famous throughout the whole Olympics. What was the world's famous chocolate muffin like?
the Olympic Villa, the chocolate muffin. It was so good. I had one every day. I didn't
Oh,
I didn't care
Damn.
about the sugar or the carbs. It was my happy. It was my serotonin for the day. It's basically just chocolate cake. Like it's just chocolate.
oh,
Cake.
okay.
I'll take it.
Yeah, and the chocolate chips are like melted in the middle, so it's like nice and gooey.
Ooh, that
And
sounds
then I
really
was
good.
the muffin. The Muffin Man, the swimmer who like started it all.
Yeah.
I just see him pull out a muffin from his pocket. Like he pull out a muffin from like a random pocket. I'm like, where did he get that? And I would see him a bunch of times just like holding. I'm talking like 3 in each arm.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So what you saw online was also real life, but the muffin was really great. Yeah.
Nice.
Muffin TikTok.
So, muffin TikTok. so, so you're still recently kind of off the Olympics again. Like crazy to go from a low and not qualifying in 2020 to having it all, getting the team medal in 2024, and To be quite honest with you, I have never spent that long working up to something in my entire life. That's not, I mean, I guess college is 4 years and I graduated college. That's great. But you finally got to where you wanted to be.
Mhm.
You got to the Olympics, obviously silver. We're chasing that gold, but it's 4 years all over again. Back to the cutthroat, back to that intense mentality. How do you kind of pick yourself up and get your butt back in gear after going to the Olympics?
I mean, can someone tell me? Like I'm still
Yeah,
figuring it out. I mean, the post Olympic blues is definitely a thing, just to be completely
yeah,
transparent, because it's like it's such a build up, and my experience with build up had a very like it was a great experience. I had that big moment of getting a medal and just I had a very special experience. And then within a week, I was in Ohio State basement learning math and
yeah.
like really intense lighting, looking around, being like, where am I? And so I would say the transition back into college was very sudden. And my head coach here at Ohio State was very nice. He let me have like a month off. And I was like very determined. I was like, I'm gonna stay in Olympic shape. And then it hit week 2, and I was like, I can't get out of bed. Like I'm so tired. But slowly but surely, if you don't give yourself like a break after such a big moment, you're just gonna burn out. And I knew that right away. So I feel like I have done a really good job of easing back into things. And Ohio State is very competitive still. Like collegiates are very intense still. So I have like a lot of motivation. I'm also just a very competitive person. So it's just like always gonna be there. But I'm not gonna lie, there's some practices where I'm like, I'm not training for the Olympics. Like
Fair.
in this cold pool right now, but having another goal like a collegiate national championship is really strong motivation. So I'm happy that I'm not going back into such an intense environment, but more like a middle ground where I can still enjoy the sport, but it's
Yeah.
not as it's definitely not or stressful. So I'm just grateful I could, ease back into it. But if
Yeah,
anyone has tips, DM me. I need.
yes, please. So, like you said, thank God your coach gave you a month off. I can't imagine that sort of transition. First competition tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
what does kind of the collegiate season look like? Like, what sort of meet is tomorrow? And then when do you say Olympic training would really pick back up? Is it at the 2 year mark? Is it going to start in a month? Kind of what's like, it's a balance of two different teams, two different schedules. And how does that whole thing sort of work?
Yeah. So our first like really big meet is tomorrow. We had a baby one 2 weeks ago, but we don't count that one. So our first meet's
Okay.
tomorrow. The collegiate synchro for artistic swimming is very short, so we only compete the month of February, and then our big national championship is like the very last week of March. So it's quick, but like in every
Yeah.
weekend is a competition, and then the collegiate is like September through March because it takes a really long time to choreograph routines and do them well. Um, and regarding national team, it's centralized training when it comes to the national team. So you have to move to be able to compete at world championships. So I'm now what is considered a remote athlete. I just signed a contract officially actually today, which was, well, last week, but it was submitted. And that basically means that I can come to camps here and there. I stay in the loop. They keep me updated on things. They just trust that I'm doing the work at the collegiate level. And so it also gives me eligibility in 2 years to try out for full time training again. I have to try out. Um, so it basically gives me eligibility to try out for the next Olympic team. And can decide that in 2 years. It's not something I need to know now.
28 in LA.
Yeah, we'll see. I would love to do it. I'll just see how the injuries and motivation are holding up. But basically,
No.
in 2 years, I would have to move for 2 years, not just one, like a whole
Wow.
team.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, obviously, post Olympic, like being a post Olympic athlete now, what would you, did you get any, did you get the rings, number one?
Yeah, I did
Did you
get
get
the
the Olympic tattoo?
no. I I've been pushing it off. My dad wants to get it with me because he wants to be the
Okay.
Olympic father. I'm like, you can
Nice.
do it.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I'm waiting to
That's
find a
sweet.
good time where like I don't have to be in the water the next day and I can do it with my
Right.
dad because I wouldn't have
That's
done
cool.
I wouldn't have been able to go to the Olympics or do anything if it wasn't for my dad. Like he was really the number one synchro dad. So
There we go.
he deserves the tattoo, honestly, more than I
For
do.
sure.
Yeah.
All that moving around, I think he's earned a tattoo as well. So you're in Columbus right now. Obviously, you've done a lot of moving around in your life. Where do your parents live right now?
So my parents are separated. My dad lives in Oregon, Eugene, Oregon, in the middle of the woods. He's with the bears and the coyotes. My mom
Okay.
is in LA, so which has been scary with the fires, but she's doing great. Her place is all right. And so yeah, my brother's in Boston. I have family in Columbus, family in Australia, Arizona, Italy.
Jeez.
So we're the Ramatis are around.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Another
So,
another post Olympic question. Sorry, Joey.
yeah.
Another post Olympic question. Did you get any cool benefits? Like, did any organization want to bring you out and like recognize you?
Yeah. So Hawaii, we got to go to Hawaii. There was a resort
Oh, yeah.
that saw our thing, and they're like, "Hey, if you come to Hawaii and do a little show, like I'm talking a 30-minute, not even a like 30-minute show, we will host you for 3 days. Like you can do whatever you want."
Oh,
Yeah, and I'm so thankful for my Ohio State coach because it was during fall break training, and she
oh,
let me
perfect.
go. She let me go, and so that was really nice. The White House was a very cool experience. I almost missed it because my alarm didn't go off, but luckily I made it.
Wow.
My phone died. My charger didn't work. My phone died. And I just made it to see Joe. I'd say that's a cool experience. Just being able to see the impact that it's also had on the U.S. synchro community. I coached little girls also as a little job this year at McCorkle, the Ohio State pool, and just seeing like how like excited they were, how much like they look up to like the athletes on national team. It kind of puts everything more into perspective because when you're training that hard, you're very much locked in. You don't really see the effect you have on the club teams and stuff. So it's been really nice to see kind of the motivation happen in the US synchro community again because it definitely died down for a bit. We went through a bit of a dark era. And so for me, just kind of reconnecting with, more people and more people in the US community has been really sweet too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super important because, like you said, you're in that intense environment all the time. To be able to give back and see that
Mhm.
in a more kind of like enjoyable, just the joy of the sport way is very important. So I very much commend you for taking your time to do that and give back. Switching topics here
Mhm.
as we wrap up our last couple minutes, you are involved in the Nike program with Jake at Ohio State. How did you hear about the Nike program? What are you guys up to lately? I know obviously national championship just happened for football. How'd you hear about it? What are you guys up to lately?
So I found out about You Move just, I actually don't know. I think through the grapevine. They do a great job at promotion and just really marketing themselves. So I was very interested. And then once I heard internship opportunities opened up, I was on it. I was like, I'm ready. And then we actually recently just did a very cool. Can I talk about the shoot?
Yeah, I think so.
We just did a really cool shoot where the interns get to be a part of the creation and get to like be in the ad. So I actually got to
Nice.
incorporate synchro into it. So we had a videographer come to the pool, and then I also had a moment where I had to learn a dance. That was scary. That was rough. Hopefully, hopefully that doesn't
Oh,
cut.
come on.
I'm meant for
You've
the
been
water.
okay.
Yeah,
That's
but I'm
funny.
really excited for, the spring and what we have in store. I think we are a really great team. Most importantly, I feel everyone just clicks really naturally. Everyone is very much team before self, and that's what I've always valued for any, group of people to work with. And it just feels like, a family and that I'm very comfortable in my work environment. So super excited for what's to come. I think we have a lot of, like cool things cooking and ready for the execution to finally happen. So yeah,
For sure.
Free
A
gear
lot of things to come.
I'm
and
wearing
free gear isn't a
something.
bad perk either, right? Yeah, there we
Yeah, I'm
go.
wearing
So
it.
sounds great. One of me and Michael's friends, shout out Will Jones. He was also involved in the program back when we were in school. So I've been adjacent to the program for a little bit, and it seems amazing. Seems like you guys have a lot of
It's
fun
really
there.
cool. Yeah.
So, last question from me.
Mhm.
We kind of glossed over kind of your just like general upbringing and everything. Obviously, moved from Australia to Boston and then cross country to LA.
Mhm.
A lot on your family for being able to put you in a position to succeed. So kind of big thinking here. What is one big lesson that you learned from really being dedicated to full-time swimming and full-time school at a young age? And then what's something that you maybe wish you could have done differently in that time?
Wow, that's a good one. I would say that overall, when I look back at my single career and everything I've learned, I would say the one thing I've learned is like the importance of community. I think you can't do anything without support of family, friends, teammates. I think ultimately at the end of the day, it's really all about the people you work with. And every single person I've worked with, I've learned something new. As an athlete, I also learned that perseverance is really important. Consistency is really important. If you're not on the team, there's a reason that you're not on the team. Like I've learned, you can't make excuses. You can't be like, "Oh, I'm not on the team because they don't like me." Da, da, da. It's like if
Yeah.
you're not making it, there's always going to be a reason. There's always an area to improve on. And then I've also learned the importance of consistency because as a younger athlete, I'm a little ADHD-ish. So like I'm up one day, down the next sometimes, and sport has really taught me that if you don't show up every day and if you don't give in the same effort, you're not going to get anywhere. So consistency, the importance of community, and just the people around you. And also, I would say never restrict yourself because I didn't think I was ever going to medal at the Olympics. Like, I honestly went to Paris Olympics being like, I'm gonna like just do the best I can. Maybe we'll get fourth. I don't know. And to come away with it, like with a result that 4 years ago I would have said you're crazy. So I would say never restrict yourself and just always go for it.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh, if I could have done something differently, I think I could have enjoyed some moments a little bit more. I think was very stressed a lot of the times, and I think, you know what? No, the stress was necessary. I wouldn't have done anything different.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I,
love that.
I needed a little kick sometimes. Yeah,
Pressure builds diamonds, am I right?
yeah,
There we go.
but, yeah. I wouldn't have done anything differently. Everything's a lesson, so the good and bad moments were all important. Yeah.
Definitely.
Hmm.
All right, Ruby. Well, thank you. We'll kick it back to me and Michael in the studio for our clutch moment of the week. And good luck in the rest of your season.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Great interview with Ruby Remati. And now our clutch moment of the week brought to you by Shore Metals, serving Southern California since 1970. Big enough to serve you and small enough to know you. See Stan, he'll help you out. Joey, who's your clutch moment of the week?
My clutch moment of the week goes out to the academy. When you're beefing with somebody, the last thing that you want is that beef to be public, for you to see your enemy thriving at the highest level in public. Not like us, Kendrick Lamar's diss track on Drake, likely to be performed next Sunday at the Super Bowl halftime show, comes home tonight as we are recording with 3 Grammys. So Drake sitting there seething again. Not Like Us wins 3 Grammys. Crazy there. So clutch moment to Kendrick and the Academy. That's a little one. And Bill Belichick, UNC coach, was very active the last couple weeks. Duke played North Carolina, huge rivalry game in college basketball, and Coach Belichick bought all the frats pizza and delivered it straight to their houses. So clutch moment, Bill Belichick there. A couple other things he's been up to lately, releasing a book called The Art of Winning, Lessons from a Life in Football. You'll best be sure that I will read anything that Bill Belichick says, considering we've barely ever heard him speak in his many, many years coaching. I'm very much looking forward to that. And second one, his first official recruit, 2-sport athlete Gary Merrill, I believe is how you say it. 5-star quarterback, Gatorade Player of the Year at quarterback, as well as, you guessed it, 5-star midfielder in lacrosse. So Bill Belichick already hitting the recruiting trail hard and making a good impact at North Carolina. So shout out Bill Belichick. What do you got?
Ryan Day, if you're listening, I know some guys that are hungry at 165 East 15th. So go give them a go give them a visit. I know they would be happy to see you. My clutch moment of the week is actually NBA related. It's going to go out to the Lakers equipment managers and Lakers staff of their training department. Lakers played in the Garden Saturday night, and they were going to wear their City Connect jerseys. And a bunch of Lakers Twitter kind of was like, "Oh, I can't believe we're wearing these. Terrible decision." Lakers were 1-9 in the history of wearing these jerseys. 1 hour before tip-off, it's announced that the Lakers have scrapped the City Connect jerseys, changing uniforms, and won on Saturday night against the Knicks. So clutch moment, I guess, having the jerseys. Clutch moment to whoever made that decision to change the jerseys. You never really see that. Superstition is real. So big win. Shout out to the training staff and like the locker room guys. I don't know. I was kind of shocked because I was making fun. I was in the office on Saturday talking to my boss. He was like, "Oh, we shouldn't even bet on the Lakers. They're going to get smoked." I was like, "Yeah, don't bet on the Lakers. They're 1-9 in these jerseys. Like, that's such a dumb stat. Doesn't matter." Showed him about an hour later that they were changing jerseys. Like, "Oh, yeah, it really matter. They don't have AD playing the Knicks." Lost. They were like, "They're going to lose. They're going to lose." Lost the jerseys. Won the game. Unbelievable. Clutch for everybody. So shout out Bill Belichick.
Incredibly.
Shout out the academy. Shout out the Lakers training staff or locker room equipment guys. Clutch moment of the week. Now to Outside the Line.
All right, wrapping it up with Outside the Line and starting off with Tone Deaf Person of the Week. Michael, who do you got?
Tone Deaf Person of the Week. I saw a video this week. I sent it to you. I caught it early. Got my locked in my Tone Deaf early. Delaney Walker, ex-NFL player, bet Will Compton that Shedeur Sanders, quarterback from Colorado, I don't know if you've heard of him, he would not be drafted in the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft. Said he would be drafted in the 5th round. Doesn't think it's going to happen. I don't know if Delaney's been watching any football or paying attention while he is watching, but Shedeur's probably not getting past 15, maybe at the
10?
max, 10,
Yeah.
5. Yeah, real tone deaf. Unbelievable. I don't even know how you could say that. Like, I don't even know how you're paying attention, like, seriously meant it. And they made a bet.
We're talking about it, aren't we? No, that's ridiculous. Delaney Walker has had a history of 1, concussions, and 2, drug usage. So we may not be able to truly question where his thoughts are coming from. But very tone deaf there. My boy Shedeur is going to shock the world when it comes to the league. Shedeur.
So that'll be cool. So yeah, Delaney Walker, just real tone deaf. Wasn't really even thinking. So
no ball. Just simply no more ball.
No ball. Yeah, exactly.
Know it. My tone deaf person of the week. One of the greatest artists in our generation has truly fallen from grace. Bruno Mars. We all grew up on him. Grenade, Just the Way You Are. All those other songs. He's a poet. Classics. He's a poet. The way that
Degenerate,
little man,
but poet.
Degenerate, but a poet. We love it. A true entertainer, an old school entertainer. Love Bruno Mars. He recently tweeted, and then not 2 days later dropped a song. He tweeted and said, "I'm going to go drop the next strip club anthem." And then dropped a song with Sexy Red called Fat, Juicy, and Wet. And let me tell you, it is the most disgusting, vulgar song I've ever heard in my life. I don't know when we got to the point in music, mostly rap and hip hop, but music in general, where we stopped kind of using kind of more artful language to dance around what we're all talking about and really evoke some emotion with what we're talking about. Leave it up to the mind instead of just laying it all out there on the table. It makes me feel dirty. And that's what this song really does. It makes me feel dirty. My sister showed my mom that song when I was home last weekend.
God.
And that was just not a good time. So that was my tone deaf person of the week. Bruno Mars and Sexy Red. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Some of those songs are just, they're bad. They're not good.
Scary.
Not good, babe. Not good. Yeah, that's crazy. Wrapping up now, wrong and right side. I'll hit mine. Wrong side is, it has bummed me out that I've been missing interviews and doing that kind of stuff, not getting to do the full episode. It's a right side. I appreciate Joey and Jake for picking up the slack, but it is a wrong side for me that I'm missing that personally. So that does stink. But my right side for this week is that a lot of my gear I ordered is coming in this week. So I started ordering some stuff. coming in finally. I know a lot of it was like pending shipping. So I got this box of t-shirts. It's 5 t-shirts from every round, one from every round, and then a championship t-shirt. It was from this website called
Nice.
Where I'm From. Very cool. I ended up getting one of those. My buddy caught it. We both got one from school. We got one of the Media Tech quarter zips that they were wearing at Media Day. I got one of those. And my parents, who were in Columbus for Jake's birthday last week, brought me back a hat. So pretty excited about that.
Hell yeah. I still have not ordered anything, and at this point, I feel like I'm going to be really delayed in shipping, so I got to get on that. But that's good. And your wrong side, you got to take care of business. Wrong side is the family. Jake and I are holding it down, so you got to take care of your business, and we'll take care of our business. But we're all good stuff there.
Exactly.
Right side, wrong side. Over here, it's a kind of a mixed wrong side, right side for the first one. Okay. Obviously, we talked about Jim Knowles' departure to Penn State last week, and still a lot of controversy around that. Maybe we'll bring that back up once the facts have come to light a little bit more. But recently came out that Chip Kelly is headed back to the NFL. He is going to be Pete Carroll's offensive coordinator with the Raiders. So interesting hire again, but the right side out of that is Ohio State's national championship coordinators are now the highest paid defensive coordinator in college football at $3.1 million per year and highest paid offensive coordinator in the NFL, $6 million per year. Do you happen to know how long Chip's contract was in length, though?
I did not see the years. I just know it's about $6 million a year.
$6 million a year, even if it's just for 1 year. Kind of what we expected both of them to be gone. A lot of questions coming out of Columbus heading into next season, and definitely will give us some good topics to talk about as we head into next season. But that's the tax of winning national championships. But best of luck to especially Chip Kelly. Jim Knowles, I'm still kind of reserving everything on, but that's the tax of being champion. So we'll see where they end up, and we'll see who else is going to come in down the scarlet and gray come next fall. I was going to say a lot of coaches needed. Justin Fry, he headed to Arizona to be O-line coach at the Cardinals. We lost a defensive assistant. He's going to Texas to be the D-line coach there. So a lot of movement. But the best thing about Ohio State is people want to be at Ohio State. We have the talent to use it. So let's see who Ryan Day brings in. Let's make some great hires. Let's keep winning football games. Let's do it. My wrong side, going into college basketball. Like we said, football season's wrapping up, diving into college basketball. And man, has it been quite the season this year. A lot of upsets, a lot going on. This Saturday, February 1st, the day before we are recording this, 11 of the top 25 teams lost on Saturday. I'll go down the list real quick. Obviously didn't watch all those games, but a lot going on in college basketball. So the losers of the weekend: number 3, Iowa State. Number 5, Florida. Number 6, Houston. Number 7, Michigan State. Number 9, Marquette. Number 11, Kansas, who blew like a 19-point lead to Baylor, which was crazy. Number 12, Kentucky, in Coach Cal's revenge game and first game back to Kentucky. So tough for the Kentucky crew. Number 14, Mississippi State. Number 21, Louisville. Number 23, Ole Miss. And number 24, Vanderbilt all went down over the weekend. So March is right around the corner, trying to keep your eye on those KenPom and advanced stats. February is the new March, so a lot going on in college basketball and some good stuff to keep your eye on with football wrapping up.
Yeah, absolutely agree. March Madness is going to be awesome. The good thing is public busy season's over by March Madness because that's a lot of basketball watching all day. But sports going well. We got the Super Bowl coming up. It's a future. I guess I might be spoiling my tone deaf for next week, but it's obviously something can change, but I'm just going to put it out there now. Tone deaf for next week is that I hate now that they show basically all the Super Bowl commercials before the Super Bowl.
Facts.
Is that a boomer take or no?
No, I want them all to come out the day of. I enjoy the commercials a lot, so having them go out early, it defeats half the day for me.
I've already seen like 3 or 4, so don't like that. Think it's stupid. The whole point is you want to see and you want to be surprised, but now you could probably find the YouTube video of all new commercials that are going to be played this year, so kind of shitty. But yeah, maybe a small tone deaf. I'll get another one for next week, but that is one of them. But Super Bowl next week. Luka's a Laker. De'Aaron Fox is a Spur. A lot of stuff going on. Sports picking back up. A great interview today. We really hope you enjoyed it. We're getting back into interviews like we've mentioned, so we're hoping to get more people on. Like Joey said, reach out to us. Comment tell us anything. If you want to hear from somebody, we'll reach out to them. We'll try to do our best to get them on. We really appreciate you guys interacting on TikTok, Instagram,
Yes.
Twitter, everything. Our reels are starting to fly a little better. I saw something cool that we had about 54,000 engagements over the last 30 days, which is kind of cool.
Hell
So
yeah.
definitely slowly getting there. We've gained about 35 followers over the last couple of weeks, which is kind of cool. I know we're not millions of followers in, but still cool to have. So appreciate everybody following. Appreciate the support. Thank you guys for listening. Happy Wrong Side Wednesday. Have a good one.
Stay blessed.